and welcome to the ASUS AIoT Podcast. Today we have a guest from Barbara, a company that is dedicated in the IoT platform space. And we have with us the VP of Partner Success, Juan Perez-Bedmar. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Silvia. Nice to be here.
Great. As usual, we will start with a more personal question, right?
Okay.
And we would like to know who you are, how you started in tech, and particularly what brought you here to this tech.
Okay. So, technology was quite present in my life when I was a child. My father used to be a telecommunication engineer. So at home, there was always computers. I sold the first laptop when my father brought it home, which was not very usual back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So that got me interested into the technologies part. When I came to university, I decided to study myself telecommunication engineering too. And I specialized in technology that was booming at that time. It was the early 2000s, so it was mobile technologies, mobile communications. It got me really deep ring or text to people without wires. So I started dedicating my professional career in that space. So my first job was working for Telefonica, the biggest telecommunication company in Spain. I was part of a team that the job was to test every mobile device that came into Spain and was going to be sold. It was really fun. I lived firsthand the transition from the old mobile phones to the smartphones.
Right.
So I had funny thing is I had the one of the first iPhones in Spain. I had it in my hands because I had to test it. So I started working in that industry. I began moving from company to company in that same spectrum. And I would say there was a turning point when I joined a company called Blackphone. Blackphone was a smartphone company, but was dedicated to manufacturing the first cyber secure phone in the market. So it was a startup, a joint venture between a Spanish company and an American one. And that taught me a lot about what meant to work for a startup and what meant to work in the cybersecurity space. And more importantly, it allowed me to meet who is the CEO and co-founder of Barbara, David Puron. David at that time was the VP of engineering. And when the company was acquired, he decided to take the whole engineering team. I was part of that team and create a new company in the IoT space, but with the same philosophy we had at Blackphone.
I see. So cybersecurity, right? As
Cybersecurity was the foundation of what we do at Barbara, and what we decided to start doing in that.
right, and we were just chatting before we started this podcast that the name has some reference to it. Can you explain why? Because I'm sure you get this question a lot, right? Why Barbara? Is it the daughter of the owner? Who is it?
I get that kind of questions every time. Yeah, it's a funny story. In Blackphone, we used to make cybersecurity for smartphones. So we wanted to make, let's say, we wanted to make secure the weakest link of the security chain for a user, which is the user. When we started the company, Barbara, we had that same goal, but in the IoT spectrum. So cybersecurity was everything for us. And there is a said in Spanish that says that you only remember Santa Barbara when it's already thundering.
Yeah.
So we brought that into the cybersecurity, and it's the same. You always think, or you only think about cybersecurity when you already have a problem. So we made that connection and decided to use Barbara as the name. Also, it's very easy to pronounce in a lot of languages, and it's easy to remember because you stick with that name. Yeah, it's a name.
Yeah, that's a really good choice. And nowadays, and I guess the company also has evolved since its beginning, right? What kind of problems are you trying to solve for the industry?
Yeah, you're right. We make quite the company is like 8 years old, 8.5. So at first, our goal, our mission was to bring the cybersecurity to the IoT world. But as we build the technology, the product that we have right now, and start working with companies, we realized there was bigger challenges to tackle first.
Yeah.
Um, industrial companies, which are our customers, are in the process of digitalizing their operations, and in that process, they cannot rely on the cloud. Um, Maybe because of security or privacy issues, sometimes because of it's not fast enough. They need real time.
Latency, right?
Exactly, the latency problem. And sometimes they also have cost problems. The amount of data they will need to process, it's so big that in the cloud could be really expensive for them. So we decided that we were going to try to solve that problem. Apart from being cybersecurity or introducing cybersecurity in the solution, we wanted them to have Barbara as the reference platform for making that digitalization journey. So we started working for that and trying to provide a technology, a platform that allows them to extract data from the devices, process that data locally, so without needing to send it to the cloud, and react or act based on that data. So they will be able to take action uh, on site based on that data. And more importantly, do that at scale, because the challenge for them is not handling just a couple of devices, but the industrial world is quite distributed. They have several factories, they have several facilities, a lot of machines, industrial machines, assets everywhere. So they need scalability to make that a success.
Yeah, exactly. And and talking about this, the fact that there's so many nodes and so many endpoints, including one of the topics would be security. But other than that, the sheer amount of data, how you process that, and how you visualize that for people who are not that technical and operational, maybe. What are the major challenges that you see today when people adopt your solution?
Well, this is changing constantly because the I would say the market is getting mature.
Yeah.
But my biggest challenge still is the reluctancy in the industrial companies to adopt new technologies.
Yeah, you know that this is so curious because we've been talking about IoT for decades, probably. But we were recently visiting a company that were doing innovation for industry, and they said probably you can count on the lower I mean, single-digit percentage, the amount of industry of manufacturers who actually are digitalized. Is quite a surprise.
Yeah, it amazed me when I discover customers or potential customers. I always think, but these guys are still not digitalized, or they have this part of the processes not digitalized yet.
Yeah.
And you discover that yes, there are a lot of industries that need a lot of digitalization to optimize their processes and basically to evolve. To most of them are trying to save cost or create new revenue streams because they need to evolve as the market goes. And they struggle to do that because they don't know how to do that. They are focusing on making things work, but not in taking advantage of the data they are producing with that machines. By leveraging the data, they could do a lot more.
They could actually improve costs through,
For sure,
right?
for sure.
There's an investment initially that they have to get through, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Great. And coming in then into the partnership with ASUS, we recently started collaborating, and as a software company, we know you collaborate probably, or your customers probably use different kinds of hardware. But where do you see the value of working with ASUS?
Basically, in that connection that you make hardware, we make software. Our customers normally wants a solution for a problem. They it's fantastic if they ask for a orchestration platform for the edge devices, which is
But it
what
sounds
we
very
do.
specific.
But it's very specific,
Yeah.
and there are few customers that really ask for that. So normally they need an end-to-end solution. And that combination of ASUS devices plus our platform that will run on those devices and will be able to manage those devices remotely, it's perfect for customers that need that.
Yes, and many times when we are approached for projects, people, the end customer will come with a problem, and like you said, they will not know exactly what they need, right? So we always try to do this with, for example, what we're doing with you is to package it in such a way that is plug and play for the customer.
Exactly. They expect that, or especially when they're in the first stages of that digitalization process, that they are trying things, they are trying to implement solutions they know they need to do kind of stuff like that, but they are not sure. They need some advice.
Yeah, exactly. Great. And so could you give us an example of a successful case that you have deployed and so illustrate this?
Yeah, I'm going to mention one that if someone has heard some myself in other places, probably already knows this one, but it's one that is quite representative of the technology and the problem that this company wanted to solve. There is a customer we have, which is called Acciona. It's one of the major infrastructure manager in Europe. One of the infrastructures they manage is water treatment plants. So they have plants that take the seawater and transform it in drinkable water. So they make a desalination process to make that drinkable. That process, as complex as it sounds, it's quite manual. It's basically well, I don't want to enter into technical details because I'm not an expert on that, but I know it's basically using different chemicals to make the water drinkable. That process, or to decide the amount of chemicals they need to use in every step of the process, they just take samples from the water and bring it to a lab, and a few hours later, normally 24 hours later, they get the results. So with that results, they react. They decide how much of certain chemical they need to use. The problem is that you have already drunk that water, so there is always a curve to a stabilization curve to make the water be among certain parameters, the legal parameters for the water to be safe. So you can imagine that process is not optimized.
Yeah.
So they have worked a lot for years in a complex AI algorithm that takes decisions on real time. So based on different parameters, they analyze with the model, and they give predictions in real time and very accurately of how much chemical you need to use at that moment. So they had that, they have tested that in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
And they had the solution, but they needed to implement that, to deploy that they had like 300 plants over the world.
Yeah.
So they need to deploy that algorithm to be next to where the data is, because it needs real time. So it needs to take data and process that data locally to take a decision at that moment. You can imagine that there was a big challenge over there. They didn't know how to do that. There are security issues in every plan. They have to configure and reconfigure the model every week. So there is a lot of management involved in that. Location, exactly.
Yeah.
So they managed to do that by using Barbara as the platform. So they put a device that could have been an ASUS device if we met somewhere in the past. So they use that device to be plugged in every plan.
Yeah.
They deploy the algorithm to that device, and that device controls the whole process. They get information, analyze it, and makes predictions to the person over there. So they get the results and say, "This is the amount I need to use right now."
Okay, that's very impressive and it really helpful.
This project has saved a lot of money for them.
Yeah.
They make some estimations of hundreds of thousands of dollars per plan.
Wow. Okay. Impressive. Yeah, this is a great example of how IoT can help real time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it involves taking data from facilities and using AI to process that data.
Yeah, and multiple facilities.
Facilities.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's a great example. Um, and without, I think, going too much into detail regarding, I mean, the technical side, but we do want to also understand what is the technical value, right, that Barbara brings to the table. So, what would you say are the unique selling points and what stands out?
Well, Barbara is a platform to manage devices and the applications that will be on those devices. What it makes us unique, and this is different from any other platform that you would see, I would say are three key points. The first one is our industry first orientation. We are working for the industrial market, so we know the strict security standards they have. We need the reluctancy of sending data outside, so we understand that and we tackle those kinds of problems. Apart from that, we understand the process they need to follow from just taking data to make more complex things with that data. So we adapt, or we are trying to implement different features in our software that give answers to those challenges they are going to face. Like, for example, what kind of protocols they are going to need to understand this, how to configure things remotely, things like that. That is the one. Second one is our AI focus. This is quite different from other platforms. Basically, once you get data, you can process that data. But the way to process that data, you can do it with just applications that maybe makes visualization, takes some rules and gives answers. But we are going a step forward. We know that the AI revolution is coming, and it's already here in our day-by-day life, and it's also reaching the industry. So there are more and more companies wanting to manage AI at the edge. So next to where the data is going to be produced, we want to be the platform that lets them orchestrate all those AI algorithms they are going to deploy with the minimum friction. There is a lot of friction between the AI developers, the AI data scientists that develops this kind of products when trying to deploy it, because they are not IT guys, they are mainly mathematicians. So they don't know how to,
The real world.
yeah, how to packetize things, how to make this work in every single device independently of the hardware that is beneath. So we are adapting the platform so they don't have to make that kind of work. And I would say the third differentiator for me, and it sounds a little bit trivial, but it's not, is the ease of use, the usability, the user experience. Again, we are in an industrial world where these guys are not IT guys. They don't know how to use an IT a text console. So we want them to have a easy to use platform. Just drag, drop, push buttons, things like that. So very comfortable to use.
Yes, and ultimately, many times the choices, right, when people buy, right, eventually is because of the ease of use, right? It's because
Many times, how appealing is the tool you are going to use for many time in your life.
yeah,
It's one of the decisions, especially for the users.
yes, exactly.
Mm.
And just to wrap up the what we've been discussing about your offering and our collaboration, do you have anything that is coming soon or anything you want to announce regarding the future?
Well, I cannot reveal very much about that, but it's true that we are working in integrations with third parties. We are a platform, and as you mentioned before, well, we are sometimes approached by customers that wants an end-to-end solution, and it's something we don't always have because we need more, let's say, pieces of the puzzle to complete the whole picture. So we are trying to engage with all those different pieces. So Barbara could be the one-stop shop for them to implement their solutions. So we try to facilitate the adoption of the digitalization journey for them by partnering with these kind of guys. And this is not only this doesn't imply only focused on AI or things like that, but also with traditional industrial companies that make solutions that are what they are accustomed, our customers are accustomed to.
Okay. And hopefully then with the bundling of your solution with ASUS, it could be an easier deployment, right, for the customers.
Exactly. We want our customers to find an off-the-shelf solution for the problem. So they could just buy an ASUS device that will have Barbara inside,
Yeah.
and they will just be able to manage that device in hundreds of locations, deploy applications, and do that magic.
Perfect. Last question, I think is the most fun one also. So we usually do this last question to add a bit of your personality, but also to predict, to leave the floor open for future conversations, right? So imagine we are 50 years from now. the world has changed a lot, and probably some parts of it we don't understand. um, choose one part of society, life, everyday life, whatever you want, and tell us, how do you imagine that is, and how is technology working in that sphere?
So it's a fun question, and it's a difficult one because who knows what is going to happen. Yeah. I'm going to stick with the AI since it's what I am more familiar now, and but I do believe that this is going to be a reality. Um, AI, it's getting to everywhere in our daily life. I really imagine that AI is going to move forward into becoming AI agents for everything. So everyone will be having an AI agent, like a personal, not only a personal assistant, but someone that will, let's say, push your boundaries beyond. So they will help you in your, not only in your productivity, but also in your creation process for your work. It will solve your daily problems, and not only in your personal life, but in your professional careers too. So I can imagine processes talking between each other without needing to have human intervention over there, and letting people focus on real problems that need, let's say, out of the box, yeah, out of the box thinking and things like that. AI would be a great help to, let's say, make the process of creation or to decide what to do next much more easier, because they will leave the burden of doing things that could be done automatically without your intervention, and giving you, let's say, pushes to think beyond what
Yeah.
you need.
And in terms of interface, how do you imagine this interface?
That's a question that I have always be asking myself. How will us, or will we interact with that technology? Will it be voice? Will it be gestures? What it will be? I honestly don't know. I've always thought that by thinking, there would be some way to not express verbally what you are trying to do, but think about you want to accomplish, and somehow, I don't know what, why, or how, but we are talking about 50 years from now, so who knows? But somehow you can communicate without needing to verbally express or to make signs of what you wanted. So hopefully you can do that just by thinking.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, that would be really useful, because then you know how to do
Really useful. You don't need to waste time or to that.
typing or
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, great. So let's when that happens, hopefully we can sit down again and talk about it.
Yeah. If that happens, I personally will call you to.
Yeah, let's do another one. Okay, thank you so much, Juan,
Thank you, Silvia.
for having me.